Welcome back to another episode of the Devy Planet. I am SC Romero with my co-host here, Spencer at Buckwald Sports. Spencer, how's it going?
It's going great, man. I'm pumped to talk some prospects.
There you go. As you know, we're breaking down the conferences and everything you need to know for all the people tuning in. This is the Devy Planet.
Welcome to the Devy Planet. The Devy Planet. The Devy Planet.
Ooh, I love the planet. That's all about Devy, man. As you know, we are here to break down our conferences. For people tuning in, I know there was a scheduling issue. Dynasty Dogs is still going to end up having their show, so make sure you're tuning in with the FFU and with the Dynasty Dogs. Mike and Rich are doing great things over there. They have a special guest coming in. It's going to be an exciting episode, so make sure you're tuning in and tune into that episode as well. Here on the Devy Planet, we are going down conference by conference and talking our top 10 players within each conference. As you know, last week we talked SEC. So if you missed that, go watch it. I think we had 13 total players just based on how we mixed and matched some players there. Go check out last week's episode. We talked about the SEC and we talked about who's the wide receiver 2 in the 2027 class, Cam Coleman or Ryan Williams. But this year, as we're going through the conferences, we're actually going to head over to who has a national championship, the defending champions conference, the Big Ten conference. This is an exciting one. Spencer, before we get started, any thing that excites you more about the Big Ten? I mean, is this wide receiver you here, or what's going on with the Big Ten?
Dude, I got to be honest. The Big Ten, I think, was the hardest one for me to find 10 players to separate. I mean, I think I had like an 18-player list. I can't remember the last time the Big Ten was this talented. It's just oozing with Devy talent. Definitely going to hit our rosters. It's contending with the SEC for best conference in football, and that surprised me.
Yeah, and before we get into those players, I like that you brought that up because SEC, you could talk talents all over the field there. And honestly, we talked about it where you could probably go position by position and say the SEC. But the Big Ten is getting stronger. I think the idea of the Pac-12 and some of those teams going to the Big Ten just elevates that a little bit more to make it even bigger than what it is. And we're seeing a lot of great talent. It's allowing with the NIL now or with the Pac-12 going on, you have teams like USC, like Oregon, UCLA, able to go and recruit players on the East Coast and say, hey, look, we're actually coming to your side of the town, right? We're coming to your side of the states to play some games here. So you're still going to be able to have a chance to play in front of your family. So now come here, though, play in our, weather, things of that nature to go out there and do it. So a lot of great things to come. Let's get into it, though. Let's talk about our quarterbacks here. Our first one is none other than Bryce Underwood, Michigan's new shiny toy, if you will. NIL went to get him. 6'4", 208 pounds, 2028 eligible. So this is a freshman coming in that has the eligibility to start, but draft eligible 2028. 2024 composite ranks or 247 composite ranks, excuse me. 5-star athlete, true freshman. Elite potential as a franchise quarterback, dual threat ability, composure under pressure, displays touch on every throw, nice zips on his throw, front level arm and talent. Underwood is going to be a step up in what JJ McCarthy was for the offense, right? I know JJ McCarthy won the national championship with Michigan a few years back. A great team. They had a strong defense and a strong running game. What Underwood's going to do is be able to elevate the offense in the passing game even more. We still really haven't seen what JJ McCarthy does at a pro level because he was hurt. But Underwood's already, in my opinion, a better prospect what McCarthy is, not even stepping on the field for Michigan as an actual competition. He's done the spring game. Great arm, as I mentioned here, has good zip, has the mindset or the IQ to make smart decisions, to escape the pressure, to just extend those plays and what you need in a playmaker for a quarterback. What are your thoughts on Bryce Underwood here?
Dude, I mean, Bryce Underwood is as good as they get in terms of prospects coming in. I know we had a little bit of scare where prospects, it feels like the 5 stars have been busting left and right with these quarterbacks. I don't really see how Bryce Underwood does. I wish he had maybe stayed his current trajectory instead of hopping over to Michigan. I don't know that it's the best place for him to develop, but I mean, it's hard to mess this kid up. I mean, he's got great accuracy. He's got a pro arm. as you mentioned, that dual threat ability, his scramble, he can do it all. And he played good high school competition. You know, it wasn't like he was playing a bunch of bums and beating up on them, got that 5-star artificially.
Right.
He was playing good competition in high school. He's coming in now. He's probably going to start right away. I would expect it to be a little bumpy, but for a freshman, I'm expecting good stuff.
Yeah, just for the viewers that when you brought up, maybe not the best development here, he was originally committed to LSU before, again, the NIL collective went out and, said, hey, we got $10 million for you here at Michigan here. NIL is crazy, man. That's changing the landscape of college football. But it says a lot. I mean, it's interesting that he chose not to go to LSU. I think LSU had other quarterbacks in mind saying, hey, you're not going to start. The difference is, that could be argued why Nussmeier stayed because he knows who was out there. At the same time, that could have been why Underwood didn't go because he was like, "Hey, Nussmeier is there. I'm not starting out the gate." Where in Michigan, I feel he has a great opportunity to start out the gate and really do some damage for the team. And as you mentioned, the Big Ten is getting stronger and scarier. Underwood's a big kid, and he's gonna put some weight on in the freshman 15, if you will. To just gain some weight and still be athletic and mobile for his team to go out there and dominate. So I'm excited to see what he can do. He was taken as a senior in some of my Devy drafts, to be honest. I know sometimes that's frowned upon taking those high school players, but some Devy drafts he was taken as a senior as the only prospect taken in high school. Now you're doing your supplemental drafts. He's arguably the 101 when it comes to a freshman, So I'm excited to see what he can do. I think there's a lot of talent there for him. But without that, let's go on further to our next quarterback. Actual defending champions, they have a new quarterback on their reins here, and that's Ohio State's quarterback Julian Sayin. 6'1", 203, 2027 draft eligible, 247 have him as a 5-star prospect. There's a lot of 5-star prospects, guys. Let's go throw that out real quick. A lot of 5-stars here. In 2024, he played in 4 games, didn't start any. With a 41.7 completion percentage, you take that with a grain of salt. 84 yards, grain of salt. 1 touchdown, grain of salt. 10.2 average depth of target, 0 sacks. In the 4 games played, 0 sacks. Again, not as much opportunity there, but the 0 sacks shows me, and I've seen it in his game, again, what Underwood had. He has the ability to extend the play. I love the way Julian Sayin moves in the backfield. He's very elegant with his movement, and he does have a nice arm as well. It's not as strong as some of these other quarterbacks we're going to talk about, including Bryce Underwood that we just did, but he still can make those throws. He's going to be one of the ones that gets those darts in, really the zip on the 5-10 yards. Not going to be as much as the 20+, even though I know Jeremiah Smith is there. I think he's really going to piece underneath with the guys and really make sure those short yardage plays are going to be big momentum stickers for them moving forward, especially because they lost some great running backs as well, including Sean Junkins and Henderson. It might be more on the passing game. I really feel they're going to try to use the passing game a little bit more this year, more so than what they did with Will Howard last year. Julian Sayin can help extend that. He's going to need to get a little bit more under his throws to make sure they go the distance as well. What are your thoughts on Sayin?
I'm not sold on Sayin. I hear what you're saying, and he's got all this natural ability. I do think the arm is a little worryingly weak. Mm-hmm. But that's not to say he can't improve it. If he can strengthen up his lower half and really start to drive the ball, because what he really struggles with is driving the ball. Right. He can layer his throws. He's accurate to all levels, and he has enough loft. He can get it deep. It just when he's thrown into wind, I think we saw it in the spring game last year. Mm-hmm. It just seems to die on him, and that's a little concerning to me. For sure. But that's not to say, again, he's coming in as a freshman. Gets into the Ohio State weight program. He can beef up that arm strength. I mean, that could definitely be fixed. I could be dead wrong here. But I think Tavian St. Clair is going to be knocking on the door behind him.
I was just about to say that.
That gives me a little pause. But he's got a chance here. He's got the best weapons in football, and you don't need to do much to be good. And he has all the talent to be great. So there's a chance here. I'm a little more hesitant on Sayin than some of these other quarterbacks that we're going to talk about here.
Well, you bring up St. Clair. St. Clair is another commit 5-star prospect, QB3 of the 247 class, the senior class coming in, or freshman class, I guess you can say. 6'4", 225 already right now is what they have him as. So if Julian Sayin does struggle, it is going to be some, fire under his seat, if you will, because he is going to have that guy in St. Clair right behind him. The benefit is, as you mentioned, the talent's around him. And Jeremiah Smith is that wide receiver that will make quarterbacks look great, right? So it doesn't matter what he's doing as long as he's out there with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell, Tate, Millen Graham, Brandon Ennis. He has opportunity to look great. So it's really all on him to say, hey, I'm messing up, and yeah, that's where they move on. But I think some good things could come from him. He does have the move sets to make it and be great, and I guess time will tell because the competition is getting thick there now too. And I feel Ohio State has had some years with rough quarterback play, where it's like they have the talent wide receivers that if this rough quarterback play not getting it to the wide receivers, there's a problem, and it's not the wide receivers, right? So a lot can change there. Speaking of top quarterbacks, say it might be a quarterback that benefits from his wide receivers. A quarterback that's gonna have the wide receivers benefit from him is our next guy, and that's Nebraska's Dylan Raiola. 6'3", 230, draft eligible in 2027, 247 5-star composite rate. 2024, he played in 13 games, started 13 games, 66.3% completion, 2,816 yards, 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 8 yards average up to target, 25 sacks. Now, people have compared him to Patrick Mahomes, the way he does his movement in his arm throws, the way he escapes, the way he looks. Honestly, he's a bigger kid. He's getting some help in the wide receiver room this year. He's getting Dane Key from Kentucky, who I'm very high on as well. I think we're going to see these touchdowns really elevate this year for him. The 13-11, a little bit concerning, but again, this was a true freshman year, and he definitely showed his freshman woes this past season. So we're going to see him step up a lot and really say, hey, did you really watch the film this past offseason? Did you understand the mistakes you were making? The throws you were forcing? Are you here to now say, okay, it's my time to go out there and shine, and I need to just fine tune it just a little bit? I think. What are your thoughts on Raiola?
Yeah, Raiola's a talented kid. Again, I'm a little lower, I think, than you are, but it's not a slight against him. There's so much talent in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
He moves around great. He kind of takes hits, and it was a true freshman year. The game came at him fast. Nebraska really did not have anything for him to throw to.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah.
All of their kind of hopes, their big 4 stars that they had brought in, never panned out.
Yeah, I was high on Jamal Banks.
Yeah, and I think it was I don't remember exactly. There was a 4-star they brought in that I was really high on. Super athletic. I think he got suspended this last year and injured. It was bad. So it just never quite worked. So I'm thinking that Raiola gets going this year, has some weapons to throw to. Dane Key is as good as they come in terms of a college wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He should step up. And again, 1 year under his belt, it'll get a lot slower for him going forward.
Big, as you mentioned, the way the Big Ten is developing here. I was trying to see that 4-star was here. The way the Big Ten is developing, it definitely needs to be slowed down a little bit more for him. There's a lot of big things to come out for him. I mean, he has phenomenal arm. Arguably, he might have the best arm in the class of 2027. I think the IQ will come with it, again, slowing it down. There are some things he needs to work on, but I think regardless, he could definitely elevate and go to the top there as well. Jamie, thanks for joining in, man. Always a pleasure having you. Can stake out my Dynasty podcast over Fantasy Six Pack in a few minutes. Hey, well, there you go, people. Fantasy Six Pack as well. Our guy Jamie's over there. He's doing great things for them as well. Make sure you give him some love. He has a lot coming on. Dylan Raiola there. He has opportunities left and right, to make it again with the ready comps. Patrick Mahomes, that's really going to be a heavy burden on his shoulders, if you will. It's going to be beneficial for him to get a quarterback a wide receiver like Dan Key, just a nice field stretcher, someone that could go down, get some plays, a great talent as well. I'm super stoked to see what Dan Key's going to do for him this season. My pleasure, man. Always nice having you here.
Yeah,
next quarterback here, though. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. Makai Coleman. Coleman. It came to me.
Yeah.
Guy runs like a 4.3 as a true, kind of running in as a true freshman, but his hands are made of rocks, and he just didn't have the work ethic, it sounded like. So hoping he rebounds. Good kid.
I think he got banged up as well. Makai Coleman, man, I was high on him too. Serious like Akeem Williams, man, at FSU. That's a different conference, but same guys, just big build, and it was like, man, they really have it. But that's where it goes into. They look good as seniors in high school, and then they go to a college landscape, and it just doesn't pan out. And that's why it's always risky. Like we talked about Bryce Underwood as the 101 now. Still, we don't know what the college landscape's going to run like them. They can just tremble. We've seen 5-star athletes who look the best in the nation, like number one overall prospect in the nation, 5-star athletes, don't do anything at that college level. Maybe it's their injuries. They're just not used to taking care of their body, or they don't do it properly. They can't play to the speed of a Big Ten. They can't play to the speed of these big defensive backs covering them, or these edge rushers going after them, and they get banged up, and they're just not the same. They kind of get shaken up, and they kind of lose that focus when the pressure starts collapsing after that one big hit, and you kind of see it. And Raiola, again, I saw that a little bit in him, where it was like at times it was like, man, you're really forcing your throws. You're not getting the best out there. And it's like, I know you have the arm to make it. It just looks like you were rattled in those certain situations, and therefore it kind of knocked him down a little bit as well. Speaking of next quarterback, this one's our first transfer, if I'm not mistaken here, but this is former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava at UCLA now. 6'6", 215 pounds, 2026 draft eligible, 247 composite rate, 5-star athlete, 2024, 13 games played, 13 started, 63.6% completion, 2,617 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 11.1 average depth of target, and 30 sacks. Now, Nico Iamaleava, his touchdowns, people may look at that like, oh, he didn't do 20 or whatever it is. His yards, people may look at that, oh, he didn't do this or that. He did not have the help he needed at wide receivers this past year. Now, going to UCLA, he still doesn't have that help at wide receivers. So when you're watching this play, you look at the stats may not be there, but he really is a special talent. He is definitely someone that can elevate a team. The thing is right now, because he hasn't had the star wide receivers, in my opinion, he hasn't really made the wide receivers look great or better, but he's looked good. Does that make sense? Like he's looked great in the backfield and calling the plays and everything, but hasn't done the much to make those wide receivers boost up a lot. So I'm excited to see what he can do at UCLA, because it really is going to be all about him. I mean, you don't have a Dylan Sampson there. TJ Harding, I believe, transferred out. So it's going to be nice to see what he could do. What are your thoughts on Nico?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a believer in Nico. I think all the drama is going to be more for him to overcome than any situation he's in. The talent is real. He's got a cannon for an arm. This is his first time starting last year, and he looked pretty solid. There were ups, there were downs, but with what he had at receiver and a lot of the bad drops he faced, he did well. It wasn't, he didn't light up the world, he was like he was supposed to. But this is a guy, he can run the ball. He's a big dude. He's got good speed to him. He's not the quickest or most elusive in the backfields, but once he gets going, he's a little freight train like, which for a quarterback you love to see. And then he's got a cannon. Right. So UCLA isn't the best spot, but I think he can make it work.
Well, and then on top of that, you mentioned he's not as elusive in the backfield. I'll counter that though, because at 6'6", I feel he really is for his size. Yeah. Like he's not he's not Lamar Jackson. Okay, wrong. He's not gonna be what I think Bryce Underwood could possibly be. But for his size, like he really does have that swift motion to his movements. And when it comes to escaping the pressure, he can definitely do that. And for a 6'6" guy, I mean, he is light-footed for 215, but that's probably why. Like, he's very lengthy, right? Yeah. So it's like he knows how to get out. Someone's tackling, he can reach out his arm and still make a throw. He can really move his body around and still kind of evade those pressures, those top edge rushers coming out. So it is really interesting. He's you could argue it's a downgrade coming from SEC to a Big Ten team, but at the same time, as we talked earlier, Big Ten is really getting competitive. And I feel with the SEC, you have your star talents where it's like these guys are there's tier breaks. With the Big Ten, I don't think there's as many tier breaks. It's like, all right, there's all these guys. I feel they could be bunched together, right? And Nico's going to fit into that role of there's a bunch of good quarterbacks, and it really is hard to tier break them apart because they all have similarities, and their flaws are all big flaws and hurting them too. So it's like they can we're going to talk our top 10, but it's like, are they the true one? Are they the true quarterback two? Things of that nature, because they're really, really close. Nico ends up being one of those as well. But I'm excited to see what he can do because the Big Ten, I feel, is a lot more physical, a lot kind of a slower game pace. For your SEC, it's a lot more aggressive, a lot more faster when it comes to some of your defensive players. So he may have a little bit more time in the backfield. But it's gonna be like, okay, when you have more time, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna take off with your feet, or are you gonna try and make the throws to your wide receivers? And then, as you mentioned, drops. Are these wide receivers gonna come out and catch those type of balls, or is it gonna be something different? He does have his brother, Madam Iamaleava, also at UCLA. So something that's gonna benefit there is you're kind of playing backyard ball with your brother, right? And it's like we have this competition to what each other do great. So now you go home and be like, okay, we're both here now as well to make it happen. So a lot of good things can have it. Thanks, JB. Have a great show, my man. So we'll be excited to see what Nico Iamaleava could do, because it'll be funny if he ends up struggling and then his brother comes in and takes his spot, right? And it's like, all right, Madden over Nico then. So but
dad's happy either way, right?
Right, exactly. He still gets a quarterback that's starting in the Big Ten there. Our next quarterback. Now, this was an interesting one because I feel some people have him super high on the rankings, some people have him super low. Where are you? Who's to say? Let us know where you're at with him. But Drew Allar out of Penn State, 6'5", 235, so nice size there. 2026 draft eligible, 5-star in the composite rate, 2024 stats, 16 game played, 16 games started, 66.5% completion, 3,327 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 9.1 average depth of target, and 21 sacks. Now, the quarterback I will throw out with Drew Allar that I've heard, just comp-wise, is Josh Allen. I don't think he's Josh Allen. I get it. I get the arm is there. You could say he has a great arm, things like that. He is mobile. I don't think he's as mobile as the sense of what Josh Allen is. Where Drew Allar's kind of drops for me in the rankings here is we still haven't seen fully what he can do. Penn State has a phenomenal running game. They have a phenomenal running back room, arguably the best in the nation. And that's even last year when you had Ohio State, when you had Oregon, or different teams as well. Penn State arguably has the best running back room in the nation. And I feel because of that, Drew Allar doesn't get to showcase what he does. 3,300 yards is great, but I feel he has the talent to really push it and do more. But I don't know if he's going to do that at Penn State. So in my opinion, he might end up being a discount at the rookie level for your drafts. But right now, it's like I don't know if I want to take the shot on Devy, because I'm still questioning it. I know the arm's there, but to me, that's what it is. I don't know if he's truly that dual threat or really that leader that's going to push him to the next level. What are your thoughts on Drew Allar?
Yeah, I like him still. I think Drew Aller's a good quarterback. The Josh Allen comps are a little absurd. It looks like Josh Allen, but it doesn't play like Josh Allen.
Right.
He's got the big
Agreed.
arm. He layers it pretty well. He's not that, like, he has the mobility. He's got the athletic ability, but he doesn't like to run. Josh Allen likes to run, and he also likes to run into you, stomp over you, laugh in your face. I don't think Drew Allar would dare of doing even a quarter of that.
Right.
Like he's a little more reserved. I think he's very accurate. He needs to step up in the big moment. That's his biggest weakness. When the lights get bright, he gets dim. So if he can start to play a little bit better, play a little more consistently, and part of that is Penn State. The offense doesn't ask him to do much, but he's losing his top weapon this year. If there's any year he needs to prove that he can do it, this is the year. So, hopefully he can step up. I still like the kid. I think he's definitely a first-round type of quarterback on merit alone. And, if he can add to his resume, he could sneak in top 10. Kind of like a J.J. McCarthy, I think, is a closer comparison.
Yeah, I mean, he with Singleton and Katron Allen, they run it back and try to get there. They're very close. It's gonna say what does their defense do in losing like an Abdul Carter, right? A strong guy that really shifted how that defense was, and they really paced the game on defense there, and with the running game really paced it as well. But again, Allar, the arms there, we're not knocking that at all. 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's great. That's a 3-to-1 ratio. That's fantastic. I love that. I want to see it a little bit more, and I don't know if we will with him at Penn State. But if he wins a national championship, I think he's better than Will Howard. Will Howard went in the 4th or 5th round, I think, to Pittsburgh. So I would have him ranked higher, and I think he has that shot to go out there and do it. Penn State's a great team, and a lot of that is with Drew Allar and what he does. So there are a lot of things, a lot of benefits in having him at the quarterback. We just need to see a little bit more, in my opinion, on what he's really doing, because I feel for him every year we're like, this is the year he's gonna take that next leap, and the leap has just been a step. You know what I mean? It hasn't been like he's jumped to the next level yet. So I'm excited to see what he can do there, and he's gonna be someone to watch, man. And this is another 5-star quarterback that we've talked about. You know, I mean, Big Ten is stacked, man. I absolutely love the Big Ten here. Our next guy here, one more quarterback that made our top 10, and that is Dante Moore out of Oregon. I am stoked about this kid. 6'3", 210, draft eligible in 2026, 5-star in the 24/7 composite rank. 2024, 4 games played, 0 games started, 87.5% completion, 49 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 0.4 average depth of target. That's going to change. That'd be crazy if he keeps that. And 0 sacks there. Dante Moore, man, originally committed to Oregon, transferred to UCLA, didn't work at UCLA, came back last year, sat behind Dillon Gabriel. Now this should be his time. Oregon has a nice quarterback room as well. So if Dante Moore, as we talked about with Julian saying earlier, if Dante Moore ends up struggling, they might go somewhere else as well. But Dante Moore looks great. I love his ability to make throws on the run. He has fantastic arm. You see it in the picture here where he kind of slings it. He has that gunslinger type of arm. A little bit more accurate, I think, than what Dillon Gabriel was as far as deep balls. You know, I think he's going to be able to do a little bit more as far as pushing the ball down the field for the offense as well. And I think it's really going to help with him having Evan Stewart there, one of their top wide receivers, and then a solid running game. In my opinion, the running back room might be one of the best that Oregon's had in a while. It's going to help Dante Moore just really ease that pressure off of him. I feel that's going to boost his confidence to just be a really big game changer for the offense as well. What are your thoughts on Dante Moore?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Dante Moore. I think he didn't quite make my top 10 because I want to see it. I didn't. I think the UCLA was a complete disaster. So I got a little bit of a taste. Fair. But it's not a knock against him as a player. That wasn't anything he could control. Sure. It's one of those things. I want to see it a little bit, but Oregon has a better team this year than they had last year. Yeah. There's a guy we're going to talk about later. Be throwing to. You have Evan Stewart, who's he's still good. As you said, that running game is better than it was last year, I think. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of good around him. And Dan Lanning has he's a quarterback whisperer at this point. He got Bo Nix in the first round, his first year there, and then he got Dillon Gabriel was a 3rd rounder. Right. So NFL clearly likes what he's doing with quarterbacks and what that offense, how it translates. So
100%.
I think with that kind of stuff and how the NFL is seeing it, I'm taking that from the Dillon Gabriel pick because on merit he was a 5th rounder. Yeah, it goes in the 3rd. I think it speaks to what the NFL thinks of this offense and the quarterback development that Oregon's running. So hopefully that keeps up because he's got so much talent that he could be number 1 going into next year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think it's going to be a testament to Lanning and the Oregon offense just to have that kind of player, really change that mindset. As you mentioned, quarterback whisperer. I feel people can argue that, but I mean, it shows, as you brought up the draft capital that these players are getting. Dillon Gabriel's undersized prospect as far as the quarterback. He's under 6, I think he's 5'10", 5'11". And, he's just about 200, if not just over. But it's still, for that, he's still in the 3rd round to Cleveland, a team that does need a quarterback too. And it's just like, wow, that really happened. So what's to say what Dante Moore does if Dante Moore is able to push that envelope a little bit further and really make them that Oregon team that we understood Oregon was or thought. He's going to be electrifying to the offense and really push them to, again, go down the field a lot faster. I really feel we're going to see a more energetic offensive system in Oregon this year because Dante Moore is at the helm. Now, we are going to go to our quarterbacks, but I just want to point out, we talked about earlier that the tier break is a little bit harder here. Like it's really bunched up. Let's go through our quarterbacks real quick and just check out the 247 composite ranks as we go through them. Bryce Underwood, 247, 5-star. Julian Sayin, 247, 5-star. Dylan Raiola, 247, 5-star. Nico Iamaleava, 247, 5-star. Drew Allar, 247, 5-star. Dante Moore, 247, 5-star. 5-star prospects across the board for the quarterback room. Well, for me, when we're talking our rankings, these rankings are very close. It is very hard as far as positionals and stuff like that. It is very hard to separate these guys because truly all of them have talented capabilities to be stars, not only at the college level, but at that next level. And honestly, depending on where your chips land in your Devy drafts, I'm stoked to have any of these guys on my team. Like, I think that says a
Yeah,
lot to what they have as an offense or as a unit as leaders, too.
yeah. The variability is just so high with all these players because they could all be. Again, I mean, half of these guys I could see becoming the first round. Not first round, first overall pick next year,
Yeah,
or in 2027 when it's their turn, or in Bryce Underwood's case, he could be that generational label.
right,
I mean,
right.
that's in the range of outcome for all of these players, and that's so rare when you're looking at
Yeah.
quarterbacks to be able to pinpoint. I don't think any other conference has this level of talent across the board.
Right. I truly agree with that. I think it shows to what the NIL and again what recruiting is doing, because you're able to go out there and get talented players as well, or because we're getting conferences kind of shift and everything like that. Again, you have teams saying, "Hey, come with us. We're still going to the East Coast. You play in the West Coast. Have this nice weather instead of the cold weather. Things of that nature that makes it happen." I think that's going to just show a lot more excitement for some of these players to go in. But when we're speaking about excitement, if you have the 101 in startup Devy drafts, if you have the 101 in startup C2C drafts, you are probably over the moon because you are getting the 101 across the board. I mean, I'm trading some of the top talent for this guy, but go ahead and tell us about the first wide receiver we're talking about, Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith.
Oh yeah, you know who it is. It's Jeremiah Smith. He's 6'3", 215. He's a 2027 guy, 5-star, not surprising.
Yeah,
Last year, again, true freshman, 16 games played, or 15 started, a 72.4 reception rate,
crazy,
1,311 yards,
phenomenal,
491 after the catch. Am I reading that right?
yep,
15 touchdowns, a
crazy,
12.8 A dot. Now I'd like to go 12.8 A dot,
yeah,
72.4% reception rate,
yeah,
54.5% contested catches, and he played 83.7% of his snaps out wide. What
phenomenal.
is there to say about Jeremiah Smith? SC, break it down. Tell me about this kid.
I mean, what was it say? If let's just say one word, flawless, right? Just flawless. Like this guy is truly a one-on-one Devy Ashley. You will talk about generational talents. It is this guy. We've seen. Let's go down the list of Ohio State wide receivers in the NFL right now. Marvin Harrison Jr., generational prospect. Emeka Ibuka, first round. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. These guys in the past years have been first round prospects, winning the first round. Jeremiah Smith, in my opinion, has the opportunity to be the 101 in the NFL draft. That's how good this kid is. He doesn't need to win the Heisman. If he does, it wouldn't surprise me. It's like, damn, I would have gave it to him last year over Jetty. To be honest, as a true freshman doing what he did, I know people will be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But Hunter won last year, but still, I
Yeah,
would have still done it over him. Like it's just what he did as a true freshman is truly phenomenal. And this is something that we're going to continue to see him rise. We talk about wide receivers that elevate quarterbacks. This is the wide receiver we're talking about. Jeremiah Smith is that guy. Now, the yards after the catch, all right, it could be a little bit more, right? A little bit better, sure. But reason why he's not doing that is because he's already stretching the field. Like he's
yeah,
getting the ball when there's 5 yards left to the end zone and he's beating defenders or he's snagging it in the end zone, right? So maybe he's not the best in open field, I guess you could say. That could be the knock, I guess you can have on him. But he is still the best prospect right now in college football. Do you agree with that?
yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. He's not Malik Neighbors after the catch. That's his only.
Yeah,
I put in air quotes flaw, because
yeah,
he's still elite after the catch. He's just not. He doesn't have the twitch, but
right,
he's a wrecking ball. He's got the best hands in
right,
the entire all of college football. He
yeah,
runs crisp routes at all three levels. He gets separation right off the line. He
mhm,
can go up and get that contested catch. He knows how to make, that last second separation that
mhm,
you corner on you and you just get that extra foot of space. He gets that almost every time.
right.
Like he made Will Howard look like an all generational quarterback during the college football
100%.
playoffs. And it was,
Facts.
I mean, that's something that not every wide receiver can do. No shade to Will Howard. Will Howard is
Yeah,
fine, but I mean, this was you can't get better than this, and
Yeah.
I think there's a real chance, as you said, 101 in 2027. He's going to come
So
out. Yeah.
no, I agree. I have a question then because I brought up I'm trading top level talent for him. If someone has Jeremiah Smith in your Devy leagues, would you trade Justin Jefferson for Jeremiah Smith?
Oof. Now you bring up a tough question because you know how I feel about Justin Jefferson.
Well, okay, say
How we all
your
feel.
top three, I
Yeah.
think, right now are Jefferson, Chase, Malik Neighbors, right? I think
Right.
in dynasty formats, I feel those are your top three wide receivers. Would you trade any of those for Jeremiah Smith straight up?
I think I might trade Malik Neighbors for him. And depending on where I am, say Justin Jefferson is the sole thing I got on my roster. I'd want maybe a little bit more, but it's close.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it's close really speaks to how high you need to value this kid.
Yeah.
Because as we've talked about, I probably am trading him for Malik Neighbors straight up.
Okay. Fair.
What about you? I mean, are you making that move?
I think I am, man. And reason being, I know a lot can change right from here and now. He's still a freshman. We mentioned 2027, so he's not even coming out next year. He's going to play another year in college as well. But with what they have, what he's doing as a true freshman is truly remarkable. He came in and made the nation know who he is. Emeka Ibuka, that was his chance to sign. Emeka Ibuka's probably the best wide receiver 2 anyone can have on their team because he's a natural leader. He understands the game, has great IQ to teach them. And honestly, a lot of Jeremiah Smith's success could have came from what Emeka Ibuka was possibly saying in the locker room. But Jeremiah Smith came out and dominated as a true freshman that we have not seen before. I know wide receiver U is LSU. We named 3 wide receivers that came from LSU as the top guys. I think Malik Neighbors, I think that's hands down. I'd take Jeremiah Smith. Justin Jefferson, it's you think about it, in a sense, he's going into his prime years, right? These next 3-4 years are his prime. So yeah, you can have that here, but then here's an opportunity to get the next guy that has an extra 5-6 years on Jefferson as well. I would do it. Is it gonna be a tough pill to swallow? 100%. And maybe if you're competing, you're not, but I definitely would. I think he's Jamar Chase light. I would compare to Jamar Chase as far as just that guy that's really big, really physical, not really the best in open space. That'll be the flaw there. He's not going to be, avoiding everyone in the open field, but he is going to get the ball all the time. He's going to be a target hog. He's going to be someone that stretches the field. He's going to be getting those touchdowns. And as a freshman, 6'3", 215, only understand when he gets in the weight room, when he gets better with his nutrition and things of that nature, he's only gonna get stronger and better. So for me, yeah, I would. I think you have to if you can, because this is a guy that when those 2027 rookie drafts come, 101 easily. I mean, we're talking Raiola, we're talking Lagway, we're talking Sayin. Easily Jeremiah Smith hits that mark and he becomes the 101 there. I think you take that because when that time comes, his value is gonna be higher than what Jefferson and Chase are at that time as well. So I think if you can buy that opportunity for 1-1 straight up, I think you can take it. So, people, the FFU universe, if you're there, I mean, would you do that trade? Would you trade Jeremiah Smith for Malik Neighbors, or would you trade Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase for Jeremiah Smith straight up? One of those guys for him straight up. Let us know. Talk to us about our next wide receiver here.
Yeah, so we got Oregon wide receiver Evan Stewart. Coming off a bit of a down year. His height is 6 foot tall, 175. He's a 2026 guy. He's a 5-star former recruit. Transferred over, I believe, from Texas Tech to get there. He played 13 games last year. 12 games started. He had a 70.6% reception rate. 613 yards, again a little low. 155 after the catch. 5 touchdowns. A 12.6 ADOT. 57.1% contested catch rate, which for a 175 guy, pretty dang good. And then 81.9% of his snaps out wide. Evan Stewart, your Duck boy. What do you think?
Yes, sir. So, I mean, last year I was on record saying he wasn't going to be the wide receiver 1. I said Tez Johnson was. And it was simply the daily alley system is we're going to feed our vets here. The vets are the next guy up. Evan Stewart's the next guy up. There's a wide receiver we'll talk about later that's super talented. Evan Stewart's still going to be the next guy up. Evan Stewart's going to be the wide receiver one for this team this year. He is a phenomenal athlete. He knows how to make plays after the catch as well. He has the speed. In some games, there were games where he was dominating the first half, and they just took him out the second half. And it was I really couldn't figure out why. It wasn't because defenses schemed in on him and were watching him, anything like that. It wasn't because he was banged up or anything. They just stopped using him. And I was like, question, like, there was one game he had like 100+ yards in the first half. In the second half, he had like 17. And I was like, what really happened here? And so I really think this year is the year he is the wide receiver one. This is one of the guys that we've been saying, or what I said with Allar, we've been waiting for that next step. He's on that same page. He from A&M originally. He really didn't have that breakout. He came over, didn't have that necessary breakout. This is the year he's gonna have a breakout. I think he's gonna hit over 1,000 yards. What are your thoughts on Stewart?
Yeah, I mean, I think in A&M you're 100%. I said Tech, I was wrong there. A&M. I think it might have been a Dylan Gabriel problem for him last year. I mean, you look at that 12.6 ADOT. This is a guy who likes to go down intermediate and deep. He's very fast and he's quick. He gets open, but Gabriel just didn't have the arm to get it to him consistently, especially out wide. Outside the hashes, not Gabriel's strength. Out wide, going deep, not Gabriel's strength. This year, Dante Moore, it plays to his strength, and not only that, but I think he could move inside a little bit more. Tez really had no ability to move outside the slot. I mean, he was 140 pounds soaking wet. I mean, he could never go and play the X.
Yeah.
So Stewart can maybe slide into the slot a little bit more, move around. He's very versatile. He's a great receiver. I just think he wasn't a great fit for the offense last year.
Right.
I'm planning to use him a little bit better this year, highlight more strength, and Stewart should be the one, and he should bounce back. If he doesn't, I'm getting real nervous.
Yeah, I think it says a lot that he stayed, because you have the NIL, and a lot of players go left, leave the schools if they don't get that opportunity. It says a lot that he stayed after a down year compared to what he had previously, right? So I think it shows, hey, he knows Dante Moore's going to feed him. He knows he's going to get that opportunity with Moore as well. So excited to see what he can do there. Definitely stoked to see the Ducks there. Still taking Jeremiah Smith over him, unfortunately, saying that as a Duck fan, but he's still a great prospect. But our next guy here is actually going to be someone who competes in the recruiting class versus Oregon. Talk to us about USC wide receiver.
Yes, you got US wide receiver JaKobi Lane. He's 6'4", 195, 2026 guy. So he'll be out this year. He's our first 4-star. Finally, not a 5-star. 13 games played last year, 8 started. He had a 65.2% reception rate, 525 yards, 131 after the catch, 12 touchdowns. Put the exclamation points on that. 11.5 ADOT, 52.2% contested catches, and 84.4 of his snaps out wide. Talking about JaKobi Lane, what do you like? What do you not like?
JaKobi Lane, I feel, is more of your field stretcher type of guy. Like at 6'4", he's not someone that's going to be as elusive as he can. He can't move, but he's definitely going to be a red zone type of threat for a quarterback. So those 12 touchdowns doesn't surprise me, because you want to see that when you have those 6'4" type of athletes. And he's not the fastest one on the ground, but he'll definitely win the deep balls. We see with the 52.2%, winning over 50% of his contested catches there, is lining up wide. He's not the wide receiver I'm taking at USC, but I think he has a lot of shine to him coming in, because he does have the prototypical size for your wide receivers, and he's definitely going to be a talent that I think could push into day 2 as well. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I really like JaKobi Lane. He's not my usual type of wide receiver I like, because as you mentioned, he's not the twitchiest guy. He not always getting open, but his ball skills in his hands are some of the best in college football, and I think will translate really well to the next level as like a 2-3 option. But he's absolutely a red zone threat. I mean, they almost used him like a tight end last year. He was just always getting a fade in the end zone, and he was coming down with it more often than not. So that's something. Will it translate? Will it not translate? I think we'll see this year. He needs to step up, improve a little bit, get a little more separation, and pop off. But Branch is gone. The room is wide open. He should get more targets this year. Hopefully he steps up. I really like him, though. It's hard to teach those hands.
Right, and I think you talk about so you like I feel this year he could definitely take that Jaden Higgins type of trajectory and just kind of
Oh yeah,
skyrocket. Like I feel a lot of people in the Devy community weren't talking about Jaden Higgins, and all of a sudden in the season everyone's like, "Oh, Jaden Higgins, Iowa State's gonna be." JaKobi Lane is that type of player where he could definitely just jump to that next level by getting more targets, not being kind of beaten in with the wide receiver room around him, gain more targets, more yards, touchdown stay the same, and it's like, wait, this is the guy we need because he's able to do that. So he'll be a quarterback's best friend for sure, though.
yeah,
I know we talked about Ohio State here, but as you know, that's arguably wide receiver U. So talk to us about the next guy.
yeah. So we got Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate. He's 6'3", 191, 2026 guy. We're back to our 5 stars on 247.
Mm-hmm.
In 2024, he played 15 games. He had 11 games started, a 77.6% reception rate, 733 yards. 255 of those were yards after the catch. He had 4 touchdowns, an 11.3 ADOT, 60% contested catches, which is really good, and then a 91.1% snaps out wide, playing pretty much exclusively as the Y last year. Talking
Yeah.
about Carnell Tate, and is he better than Igbuka? Is my question for you.
Oh, is he better than Ibuka? That's a good question. I wouldn't say he's not better than Ibuka in his movements, but he is a more physical wide receiver than Ibuka. He is so that could play in the middle. He probably will, opposite of Jeremiah Smith there. We might see Brandon Innish in the slot. We might see a little bit of Milligram in the slot. So there are some things that benefit because he is gonna complement Jeremiah Smith very well. He might be closer to a Chris Olave, in my opinion, than Ibuka. Ibuka to me is a little bit more shiftier, where Carnell Tate's a little bit more of the technician type of what Olave was, kind of those shift crisp movements to still make the catch and be a reliable one. He doesn't need to be the field stretcher. Again, leave that to Jeremiah Smith, where he can eat underneath and do all those things underneath. And because of his strength and his physicality, he can still beat those defenders when they try to tackle him and make some plays after the catch as well. Egbuka, I would take him if you're going just straight up over him. But I do think Carnell Tate could be nice at the next level as well. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Carnell Tate because on the one hand, he looks like the perfect wide receiver. Exactly what you would build.
Right.
But as you said, he's not quite technically refined yet, which you kind of would hope at this point he would be a little bit more. In that, the Heartline system, they create technical specialists, and he just hasn't quite gotten there yet. I do think this is the year he's going to get his opportunity to show that he should be, he should be more up to snuff. Again, he's a reliable guy. He's a good player, but I'm a little concerned he's more of a wide receiver 3 at the next level than a true wide receiver 2 alpha. But he can absolutely take that step forward. Again, there's so many great talents in the Big Ten that he could easily step forward. It's not much separation for me from the rest of the pack, but I just want to see it a little bit more. The inconsistency was what was maddening to me.
Yeah, for sure. You think about last year, I feel community as a whole is higher on him, but Jeremiah Smith came in and said, "Nah, I'm the next guy here, right?" And so he had to take the back seat, so not Smith only, but also Igbuka, because Igbuka was that veteran. But now it's just time to say, okay, I could be the veteran in the sense that Jeremiah Smith still have a shine, and I'll take over what Igbuka was. Again, he's not gonna be your slot guy because he's a little bit bigger, not as fluid, but he's still gonna be so that could, the defenses should shift in on Jeremiah Smith, and maybe that opens up Carnell Tate as well, though. So. We're on our to some bigger wide receivers here right now. So talk to us about the next one out of Michigan State.
Yeah, you got another true freshman who popped last year, maybe a little more under the radar. In Michigan State wide receiver Nick Marsh, another big boy, 6'3", 209. He's a 2027 guy. He's a 4-star, which pretty good. In 2024, he had 11 games played, 8 games he started, a 66.1% reception rate. 649 yards, 198 of those were after the catch, which is a pretty good ratio. 3 touchdowns, and 11.5 ADOT, 63.6% contested catches, which is fantastic. And then 92.9 of his snaps were out wide. He's a true outside receiver. Talk to me about Nick Marsh. I know you love this kid.
He's one of my favorite. I know we talked about Jeremiah Smith, as we mentioned, is the one. We talked about Ryan Williams and Cam Cole as arguably the 2-3. Nick Marsh is my dark horse to slip into that wide receiver 3 of the class. He is an absolutely stud. I've been on record saying he's the next DK. He is someone that is physical at the point of the catch. I mean, you talk about contested catches, 63.6%. I think people are going to sleep on him because he's at Michigan State. And it's like, don't scout the helmet, right? And he's going to be a phenomenal player at the next level. He goes down the field well. He's obviously not as shifty because of his big frame, but he still can move, and he can still make defenders miss. And if not, guess what? He's just going to run straight through them. He is a freight train waiting to happen and ready to make that impact. Absolutely love it, man. He has strong hands. He's going to be reliable. He's going to be someone that is going to be a quarterback's best friend at that next level. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree at all. He's a true, he kind of slowed down a little bit. I think, did he get hurt? I can't quite remember.
He was banged up a little bit.
Yeah, I think he got a little banged up, which slowed down what would have been a truly kind of generational level output for a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Michigan State had a lot of issues in the passing game, and he was the only thing really working for them. Right. So, all of this is to say, I think you're 100% right. This is a first rounder in 2027. He's a great prospect. Not much wiggle to his game, but he's strong after the catch, and he's so fast. He outruns the guys, just like right. DK. DK, I mean, he's more fluid than DK, but as you said, that track speed with a big boy, it's hard to take that down once he gets moving.
Yeah.
So, if you like your physical, fast wide receivers, this is the guy for you, and you can get him much cheaper than he should be.
Kind of juggernaut mentality. He gets that momentum. It's hard to bring him down there. So, stoked to see what he could do. And you did notice when he is not on the offense or not on the field, offense kind of slowed down a little bit. So when he's on there, it's definitely a different beast for them. But another wide receiver that may be going under the radar because of the school he's at. Talk to us a little bit about a guy out of Washington.
Yeah, so Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. Know the name. He's 6'4", 209, another big physical wide receiver. He's a 2026 guy. He was only a 3-star. In 2024, he played 13 games, 12 which he started. 64.3% reception rate, 834 yards, 333 of those were yards after the catch, 9 touchdowns on an 11.4 ADOT, 54.5% contested catches, 84% of his snaps were out wide. Denzel Boston, a little under the radar. Talk to me about what you think he can be.
Yeah, for his size, he really is a nice mover in space as well. He has, like I mentioned, those crisp cuts, right? He's not twitchy or anything like that, but he does make those sharp cuts when he's doing his route running as well. 834 yards is great. I want to see the 9 touchdowns is good. Being 6'4", I want to see a little bit more in there as well. Contested catches is good as well. He's not shifty like Odunze was, but I feel he could be better than what J-Mac was as well. I do like him as a prospect. He saw that he's going to be under the radar because of all the talent in the Big Ten, and because Washington, I don't think it's going to be the same as they were with Michael Penix. That's on the quarterbacks, but same thing with Nick Marsh. Because that quarterback isn't play, don't watch what they're not doing when they don't get the ball. Watch what they're doing there as well. It's like, understand when they have the ball in their hand or how they make a difference when they're on the field. That's what makes that impact, and Denzel Boston makes an impact when he's on the field.
Yeah, no, I mean, he reminds me a lot of T. Higgins, where he's not the twitchiest guy, and I'd like to see him work a little bit more on some of his route refinement, but he goes up and gets the ball. He's great kind of on the boundary, keeping the feet in and catching it outside his frame. To me, he's a really professional wide receiver, and I think he's going to surprise some people with his straight line speed, because I'm expecting below a 4.5. For him next year. I think he's a really good wide receiver who there's first round potential here. I think more likely day 2, but he's really under the radar. And it's not the strongest wide receiver class, but he's going to be a good professional wide receiver at the next level. As you said, I'd like to see a little bit more production this year, but it is going to be tough in that Washington offense.
Yeah. Shout out, yeah, man. Big 10, crazy Washington has there. I got mad scientists joining in, but yeah, man, it's 100% crazy out there in the college streets right now. Yeah, I agree. I think he's someone that people might not be paying attention to as much, especially if you look at the 2026 class. I don't think it's going to be as deep at that wide receiver position, but you're going to have opportunity there, and Denzel Washington could end up being a steal. Solid hands. I'm excited to see what he can do this next season for him as well. We had 2 Ohio State wide receivers. We also had 2 wide receivers out of California. Talk to us about the next USC guy.
Yeah, USC wide receiver Makai Lemon. He's 5'11", 190, so a little smaller than some of these big boys we've been talking about.
Yeah.
He's a 2026 guy. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. In 2024, he had 12 games played, 6 started. He really picked up at the second half of the year. 77.6% reception rate, 764 yards, almost half of them at 379 yards were after the catch.
Phenomenal.
3 touchdowns, a 10 ADOT. 46.2% contested catches, which is also pretty good for a guy his size. And 85.1% of his snaps came from the slot. Makai Lemon, talk to me about him. Which of the USC guys do you prefer after you kind of give me your thoughts?
Yeah, so Makai Lemon, as we talked about, I'm just trying to blame now. JaKobi Lane, as a field stretcher, I was gonna say Jaden Higgins because that's what I thought of. Well, Jaden Higgins had Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel is what Makai Lemon is, right? So he's that slot guy. He's a guy that's gonna feed underneath there. You see it with the yards after the catch. He's definitely gonna be a playmaker for the team. The touchdowns, sure, that can hurt him a little bit here and there, but I'm not too worried about that because he's gained the yards after the catch. He's very elusive in the open field. He can make players miss. He is gonna be one of the guys you want to watch. In my opinion, I'd probably have him over Jaden Higgins only because JaKobi Lane. Only because JaKobi Lane, I feel there's not much for him outside just that field stretching ability. But Makai Lemon, it's the complete opposite though. He's the guy that can feed underneath and be your twitch guy, if you will, but he's not going to field stretch. He has the speed to, but because of his size, you're not going on go routes for him. You want him to do the slants or the post in the middle just to get open and make plays with his footwork as well. What are your thoughts with him?
Yeah, I think he's a really reliable receiver. At the next level, he's going to be your go-to slot guy, quarterback best friend. He's very quick and twitchy after the catch. He beat out Zachariah Branch, halfway through the year, which I think is the biggest arrow up for him, because it really speaks to how good he is. Because we both think Branch is a pretty solid player, with good NFL potential, and Lemon beat him. So that I think speaks to the dog in him. What he could do. I think the upside might be a little bit capped at his size, because I think he's a good athlete, maybe even a great one, but he's not elite after the catch, in terms of what you'd like to see. But there's a really reliable player here. And if he adds a little bit of muscle to him, I think you could see him sneak into the first round. But again, probably a round 3 steady Eddie. You're going to love to have him when he hits your NFL rosters.
Yeah, I could agree with that. It's gonna be on the quarterback play, but this year it's him, right? Him and JaKobi Lane as the starters, guys. They don't have Deuce Robinson, they don't have Zachariah Branch. It's like there's no question. You guys are 2 guys going in, so they have a lot on their plate here. But hey, this is your opportunity to eat. And if you're looking at the box score here, it does have some good things here. 77.6 reception rate. Like you said, almost half the yards after the catch, if that is half actually. Right, just under or just over. But then also playing steps out wide, or from the slot. He is someone to watch and monitor. He's not gonna be your best slot, right? I'm not saying he's gonna be the best slot in the draft, but he is gonna be someone that I think can easily rise. And if he goes out there and combine comes and runs a 4.42 or a 4.3, that's going to skyrocket him, and that's potentially what could give him to the first round. But right now, I would have a day 2 grade on him as well. Now,
and we've seen a 5'11", 190-pound slot wide receiver come out of USC and do just all right at the NFL.
Yeah,
the Sun God.
Oh yeah, I was saying, my guy Tom Harvey is confident saying, "Hey, this is the next Sun God," and a lot of people slept on him because it was USC. And it's like it's not happening. So maybe this is your wink, wink. Don't sleep on Makai Lemon here, right? So. But when we're speaking about Twitch, there is one guy that I think arguably could have the best Twitch right now in the Big Ten. Talk to us about this guy right here.
Oh, yeah. So Oregon wide receiver, another double on the schools, Dakorien Moore. He's 5'11", 182. He's a freshman coming in, so 2028 draft eligible. His 2.47 composite rate is 5-star. I believe he's the number 1 wide receiver in this class by them.
Yes, sir.
He's an explosive playmaker. As you can see, quick twitch with the footwork, elite speed, capable route tree. And he showed out in the spring game that he has great hands. He's going to be he separates like he's a veteran.
Right.
Talk to me about another duck of yours. How excited are you? And what's the ceiling here?
Stoked. What's the ceiling? Man, ceiling. I'll just try to think of a pro con with how he twitches, man. Because his footwork, you can blink and he's already having 10 steps gone. You know what I mean? Like he's that good. I don't know if he gets as much play time as we want as a true freshman. Again, just that's their landing system. And a lot of people, in my opinion, are discrediting Gary Bryant Jr., are discrediting Jeremiah McClellan, are discrediting, even Jerion Dickey, who's getting sub too. Dakorien Moore is a great prospect, but because he's a true freshman in the DNA system, I don't know if he's going to be that guy. Now, injuries can happen. We might see him come in. He's going to get playing time, don't get me wrong, but I think we're going to wait. We're going to see him develop even further in the system and say, hey, you're the next guy up. His footwork is probably the best in the class, in my opinion. I think he, especially if you're talking about the conference, he has some of the best as well. He is making defenders miss, not only in open space, but at the line of scrimmage, man. What he's doing at the line of scrimmage against press coverage is phenomenal as well. In the spring game, he was the main guy, for Austin Novosad there as well. So I think the sky is the limit for him. I will let you talk to a little bit about him as I try to think of a good comp for him here.
Yeah, no, I love Dakorien Moore. I think I actually like him more than you, which, as the non-Duck fan is something. Because I really see like a wide receiver 1 right off the bat. I think he could step up. I think he could challenge Evan Stewart because I think he's just that good. The hands were, I think, something that surprised me because I'm expecting a fast, quick twitch, route running guy. But he goes up and gets the ball and he fights through traffic. And the fact that he's already able to do that, he showed it in the spring game against college competition. To me, Dakorien Moore could be the next thing. Right. I could see him as the wide receiver 2 in Devy by the end of the year. There's no way he passes Jeremiah Smith, but I could see him passing some of those 2027 guys even, just if he shows out. I gave you the tough question, so I'll try to answer it first on the ceiling, but is it out of question to say he could have a Malik Neighbors type of rise as he gets through college and sort of is that type of player at the next level?
Possibly. I like Malik Neighbors because of I think what he could do with the ball in his hands after the catch is going to be great. I don't think he's as physical as Malik Neighbors. So we actually just talked about the guy that I'm thinking about. He might be more like an Amon-Ra. I really think he does have that twitch move and the solid pace as far as what he's doing at different levels of the field, where he might end up being more like the Amon-Ra type of player in the slot and just dominate. And in my opinion, what we wanted Evan Stewart to be as a true freshman, it could be what Dakorien Moore actually is, right? So that's something I guess could be a comp as well. Like Evan Stewart coming in was a great prospect. I still think he is a good prospect, but he's kind of not had that breakout where Dakorien Moore could end up being there. You said challenge him. It is possible that he could do that as well. So, a little bit of Malik Neighbors in him with a little bit of Sun God in him. So if you have Amon-Ra Neighbors, that would be a phenomenal talent there, right? So I would love that there. As far as wide receivers, though, that goes with it. We had a couple 4-stars in there, but, a few, I think that a lot of people will enjoy looking at their tape as well. As I mentioned, Jeremiah Smith there for him. Then we had Evan Stewart, 2 5-stars out the back there. Then we came in with the 4-star here, JaKobi Lane, still a great asset to have for your Dynasty or your Devy teams. Carnell Tate, another 5-star there out of Ohio State. You have Nick Marsh, another 4-star with good physical wide receiver. Denzel Boston, the 3-star, but just because it's 3-star, don't sleep on him. He has some solid hands, he has some good movement as well. Makai Lemon, a 4-star there, and Dakorien Moore, another 5-star there. Now, the only running back to make our top 10 list here is Penn State's running back, Nick Singleton, 6'1", 226, 2026 draft eligible. He actually stayed. Could have went out this past year. He stayed another year. 247 composite rate, 5-star prospect or 5-star athlete. 2024 stats, 15 games played, 12 started, 6.4 yards per carry. That's great. 1,106 yards, 616 yards after contact. Apologize for the graphic here. I needed to push it a little bit more. 12 touchdowns, 33 missed tackles forced, and 1 fumble. What do you like about Nick Singleton?
Well, let's start. The athlete, I mean, he's a Greek god. He's going to run a
Yeah.
4.25. He's 230 pounds.
Yeah.
That's not something people do. And I think that's the thing that stands out is he's just chiseled.
Right.
I think the next thing that comes into play that really stands out to me with Nick is how much he improved as a pass catcher this year. He came in with rock hands. It's a little bit Travis Etienne like is what I would say. Is like a Travis Etienne if Travis Etienne was 25 pounds heavier and somehow even faster. I think I'd like to see him work on his patience and vision a little bit this year. He has a tendency to just blow right into the back of his, O-line and bounce around a little bit. So if he can work on that technical stuff, I think that's why he stayed, because I think next year there's not nearly as much running back competition at the top.
Right.
He's hungry for that title. So, you kind of love the competitor in him, but I think he's going to focus on really becoming a true, well-rounded back. What do you think about Nick Singleton and his game?
Well, what I know, there's people that think Kaytron Allen is the better back, and they both complement each other very well. What stands out to me is he didn't have the full backfield to himself. He still had 6.4 yards per carry, and why that stands out is because of those 6.4 yards per carry, he had over 1,100 yards. Now, just 6 yards over, but he still had over 1,100 yards with 6.4 yards per carry. So he is still making an impact. It's not like he's getting minimal work, which he kind of is compared to what they're doing, splitting the backfield with him. But he is still making an impact every time he's on the field. And granted, that could be because when Kaytron comes in, he's able to rest. Vice versa, when Nick Singleton comes in, Kaytron's able to rest. But then also you look at the 616 yards after contact. You're not bringing him down. He is bouncing off these guys. You said Greek god and chiseled. Yeah, he has the strength. I mean, it's hard to not think of a Nick Chubb type of prospect when you're looking at a player like him, right? 12 touchdowns, 33 missed tackles forced, and 1 fumble. He knows how to hold onto the ball. He knows how to get through the line of scrimmage. He knows how to go outside and beat that speed. You mentioned the pass catching ability. I really think he has the opportunity to elevate. Him staying was smart. I know this was a deep class, but him staying was smart because I know a lot of people have Jeremiah Love as the RB1 of the next class. There is argument that it could be Nick Singleton next year as well as RB1. First round talent, he would have to do a little bit more. Like, I think if he has same kind of stats, maybe 1,300 yards and 800 yards after contact, a couple extra touchdowns, that could possibly push him in. I don't know if even Jeremiah Love is a first round prospect. I just feel it's not as heavy. So day 2 capital though, I see it all day with Nick Singleton. And again, I think it's hard to not see a Nick Chubb when you look at him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, it's that Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, size speed combination. But Nick Chubb is another one. I mean, it's just a couple little things for him. Get a little bit more comfortable running routes, have a little more patience in that backfield before exploding through.
Right.
And he can be a first round talent then. If he doesn't work on those things, he's still a second round guy. I mean, you can't teach freak athlete. It's just something that you just can't teach it at the next level. So, he's always going to be there. He's absolutely the guy you want in that Penn State backfield. I was a Kaytron Allen guy before this year.
Yeah,
he improved a lot as a player.
And I think bringing up Kaytron's good though, because I feel if you're looking at Kaytron, you're probably watching Singleton tape as well. If you're watching Singleton tape, you're probably watching Kaytron and seeing a backfield like them. Again, arguably, in my opinion, the best running back duo last year, and this is with Quinshawn and Travion Henderson both second-round picks. Nick Singleton and Kaytron could be those guys as well. They both complement each other well. They both know how to make defenders with, and they are both just physical specimen, if you will, to be those type of elite athletes at that next level. So staying that extra year in college, I'm excited to see what they could do. But, on the downfall, having the Nick Singleton and Kaytron is a reason why, personally, I'm not as high on Drew Allar, because when I'm watching Penn State, I'm watching these guys. I'm not watching Allar personally. So that is something there that, could benefit. But, hey, if they elevate their passing game a little bit more, then maybe we see a little bit more Allar as well. And it just complements everyone, right? So, bunch of good things. As I mentioned, that's our only running back here. But as you know, at the end of the show, we do our rankings, our top 10 in the Big Ten. Let's go with our rankings. I'm gonna start it here. Jeremiah Smith, unquestioned wide receiver one, unquestioned wide receiver in our top prospect in Big Ten, unquestioned in Devy. Jeremiah Smith is him. Do what you can to get him and acquire him. Number two, Dante Moore. I really like what he could do, man. I think Dante Moore is going to elevate this offense to that next level and really push the Oregon Ducks to a greater, potentially national championship type of a level this year. Michigan, Bryce Underwood, man, sky's the limit for him. There's a lot to say about him, lots of love. He's going to be a true freshman, gets the ball, and really challenges Oregon and Ohio State at Michigan because of what he can do. Ohio State, Julian Sayin, I'm probably the highest on Julian Sayin. I know a lot of our people are not as high on him. I like what I see in Julian Sayin. I think he's an athletic quarterback that will be able to do great things for Ohio State, especially with the weapons he has. 5, Evan Stewart. I think he's going to be the wide receiver 1 this year. Really the breakout we wanted for. I know a lot of people like Dakorien more, who I have at 6, a little bit more. But I think Evan Stewart is going to beat him out this year, so I'm going to go ahead and put him over it as well. Then we have number 7, Dylan Raiola. Reason why I have Julian saying over him is I saw more flaws, right? Julian saying I need to see it, right? He's got that time this year. Dylan Raiola, we saw what he was able to do. Let him slow down the game, and I might end up changing that in the future. But right now, I have Julian saying slightly over him. Michigan State, Nick Marsh. Again, probably the highest that you'll see anyone on is on Nick Marsh is me. Absolutely love the talent, what he can do. Ohio State, Carnell Tate's great. Jeremiah Smith is him. Don't let Jeremiah Smith overshadow you for Carnell Tate. I think he can do some great things. And Makai Lemon is my number 10. Again, just with his speed and what he could do, I think he's really going to feast off what JaKobi Lane could do and really be the underneath and get majority of the targets there as well. But those are my top 10. Go ahead and tell us yours.
Yeah, so number 1, we're identical. Jeremiah Smith is top guy, top dog. There's no debating it. Put it to sleep. Then at number 2, I got Nick Singleton. I really believe in that side speed combo. Not a lot of running backs in the college space right now, so he's popping up for me. Number 3, I'm probably the highest you'll see on this guy, Dakorien Moore. Unbelievable. I beat a Ducks fan here on this, but yeah, no, he's my number 3. Then still a believer, Nico Iamaleava at number 4. I think we'll see what happens. I'm still hopeful. I still believe. Number 5, that's where I got Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. As we talked about, I think he's a good wide receiver in this class. Number 6, Bryce Underwood, the Michigan kid. He's going to come out. He's going to be great. He's my number 2 in those your 2028 supplemental drafts for your Devy leagues.
Yeah.
And Nick Marsh at number 7. I guess I'm one spot higher than you on him.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you're higher.
I'm the highest you'll see. Yeah. No, I really have him as your guy, but I guess he's mine.
Yeah. Well, let's reframe that whole segment there. Say, no, he's specialist guy, not mine.
No, I think he's going to be great. Then at number 8, I got JaKobi Lane, just a little bit above Makai Lemon. Again, it's splitting hairs here, but I really love his ball skills. I think he's going to pop this year. Number 9, Drew Allar at Penn State. I'm a believer. I know SC saying he's got a running game. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be all right. And then at number 10, Oregon wide receiver Evan Stewart. So a lot of Duck representation here today. It's going to be the Big 10 is fun, man, because we have guys on your list that I love. There's guys we didn't even talk about that I love. It's such a fun conference.
And as I mentioned earlier, when we have these rankings, they are very close as far as positional rankings. And we're outside Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith is a different tier, but everyone else very close as far as positional rankings that it is a very tight race where if one of them slips up, it's like, okay, well, this guy is actually doing it, so we're going to just bump him up here. So I'm stoked to see what each of these guys can do. Just because they aren't on my list, I'm sure just because they're not on your list, doesn't mean we don't like them or they're not ranked, because they're probably right outside. If we did the top 15, top 20, we probably have the guys that are your list or on my list, vice versa. So very tight race here. The Big 10 is going to be fun to watch. I mean, they're defending national champions, right, with Ohio State. So it's going to be fun to see what they can do and next things to come for them as well. So I'm stoked. Everyone tuning in, thank you for watching. That was our show today. As you know, we're doing our conference ranks. Spencer, anything you want to say? I know we got a draft going, and then we have an opening actually in the league as well.
Yeah, no, we have you can play with us. We have the C2C league where we have an opening up. It's a team. It needs a little love. But I think it's got some good bones. It's got some good players. So if you want to join up, hit us on a DM. Talk to us in the Discord. You got to join. We're always chatting in there. We have guys who come to us. They're doing their Devy drafts. So, kind of between 4 or 5 players, and I think within 10 minutes you'll get a response from at least someone in that Discord. So building a great community. We're really looking for a guy who loves Devy, who loves C2C, to come join us in that league.
IDP as well. It's an IDP one.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
It's a commitment.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of fun. And I mean, it's the only C2C league. I'm in a couple of them, and there's a lot of cross college and pro trading. That happens regularly. And that type of activity, I think you see with a lot of C2C leagues. It comes and goes. Especially around draft time, it heats up. This one, it's all year round. So it's a great league. We'd love to have you in there.
For sure.
And I'm going to kick your butt in that dynasty startup. I think that's what I'm saying. I'm going to take another quarterback. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'm passing on the quarterbacks right now. It's we'll see if I regret it. We'll do future shows, see if I regret the quarterbacks, because I'm definitely passing on them right now. But as you mentioned, Devy Superstar is the name of the league. It's IDP C2C. Let us know, DM us at the PPR, so at Buckwald Sports or at the FFU Universe if you'd like to be in that, or join the Discord. Drop us a comment on the FFU Universe that, hey, I'd like to be in the Discord as well. Let us know. We'll send you that invite. Come chat with us. It's a growing community, and we're excited to have everyone within it. Shout out Dynasty Dogs and Just the Race. Go follow and subscribe to their channels as well. The Devy Planet will be back next week at 6:05. I say 6. I'm sorry, 6:05 Pacific, and then 9:05 Eastern as well. Next week, we're actually going to the ACC. So, what's SEC, Big Ten? Now we're going to the ACC. Tune in to see our top 10 ranks in the ACC. For myself, for Spencer, for the FFU, and everyone else, we appreciate y'all joining. Until next time, peace.